It's been 2 years since Hamid Karzai stepped down as Afghanistan's first elected president. But he remains a busy man and retains his popularity among some sections of Afghan society. He receives visitors daily at his residence. Bureaucrats, politicians, people in distress all queue up to meet him. And he readily obliges them by being at once a troubleshooter, a guardian, and a tribal elder. As speculations swirl about his possible return to power, Karzai is categorical that he does not fancy a comeback.
Not as the president, no. I think I've gone beyond that. Not as the president, but I, as a citizen of Afghanistan, will be available to my own countrymen and to my country in any form I can to serve, but not as the president. And for this region, I would like to do all we can to bring peace and stability to this region.
Karzai's remarks come at a time when the beleaguered Afghan President Ashraf Ghani is battling his rival and chief executive Abdullah over electoral and political reforms. Karzai, who is still seen by some Afghans as a potential political alternative, only extends qualified support to Ghani.
We want their government to continue. We want them to function. We are in full support of that. But we also want our two brothers, the President Ghani and Chief Executive Abdullah, to fulfill their promises to the Afghan people, especially where they have promised the convening of a jirga within 2 years of the agreement that they had. That hasn't happened, and it is important to have a jirga convened in order to bring legitimacy and a renewed mandate.
Ghani and Abdullah share an uneasy relationship. After the Afghan presidential election in 2014, the US had persuaded the two to form a coalition government. The US says it wants the government to complete its full term of 5 years. However, Karzai says it is best left to a traditional Loya Jirga or Grand Assembly of Elders to decide on Afghanistan's future. India and Afghanistan signed a strategic partnership agreement in 2011 when Karzai was in power. But it is only now that India has actually begun delivering attack helicopters and other military hardware to Kabul. Karzai says it is not enough and that India needs to up its game.
If you ask me today, do we want India to do more? Of course we want India to do more. Do we want India to be less cautious? Of course we want India to take bolder steps with regard to Afghanistan and the region.
Karzai is critical of Pakistan and the United States alike. Pakistan for fomenting terrorism and the US for its overly military approach to combating terrorism without actually forcing Pakistan to dismantle the infrastructure of terrorism from its soil.
Aerial bombardment will not help fight extremism. It will only cause damage to the Afghan civilians and civilian lives. And the approach to the sanctuaries across our borders, ignoring it, looking over the shoulder on it, these are the issues that we like to be addressed more carefully.
Karzai says the US needs to consult India and Iran as much, if not more than Pakistan, because he sees Pakistan as a part of the problem, not the solution.
It is time for the United States to begin to engage with the countries of this region more in-depthly, with India, with China, with Russia, with Iran. So let's have a cooperation of big powers, big states on the question of terrorism and bring an end to it.
Karzai says peace and reconciliation in Afghanistan will be difficult until the Afghan Taliban are freed from the influence of the intelligence agencies of countries such as Pakistan. He also welcomes Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statements on Balochistan, saying that people there have been subjected to human rights abuses for long. Ramesh Ramachandran, WION, New Delhi.